All right, Shalom, Shalom. Bear with me one moment. Just making sure everything's good on my so like you're good on my end. My end. Yeah, it looks like everything's working fine. My end. Looks like it. All right, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. Before I begin, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Kakadash. This is your Akim Azil, back with another quick lesson. Also want to give double honors and a salute to the men I linked this truth from. Shalom Barakathon. Yeah, I'm bringing this lesson because I saw, via YouTube, a documentary, regarding, how the the son of perdition, in reference to, the Edomites have done our people, man, the Israelites, in reference to, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. But this one particularly talks about the Southern Kingdom, which makes up the so-called Negroes, man. How, the injustice that was done to, our people by these devils, and how it pretty much, um, it was prophesied that this would happen because, we're under the curses, but how the effects of how our people was treated of the unjust system and by the hands of these Edomites, the self-proclaimed white people, how it affects us today, and the results of our people, are in the predicament today, you know. And this right here is fair use. Again, this is Fair Use Act, fair use, fair use. So, I'm gonna just continue to I'm gonna continue by showing this video via YouTube, and we're gonna get into it. All right, just like you, there's gonna be probably commercials that come in and out, so bear with that. Let's go to the. It's a like it. This video was done by, I guess, the avatar names go by the Black Journals. I've not subscribed to them. I may be. I may subscribe to them, but I was happy to see, this video. It intrigued me through the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai to uh, do a lesson on it. So right there it says what? At the beginning of the 20th century, African Americans own what? It said 12. Uh, no, 14 million acres of land. And by the end of the 20th century, 90% of it has been stolen or was stolen. That's the point I was trying to make. How they obtain the so-called blacks land was through what? Violence, sale tax, like what we have today, confiscating of people's property if you're not able to, come up with the sale tax, which I'm in the state of Virginia. That's what they practice today, man. So pretty much what I'm saying is those same practices, you know, are in effect today, and that's the reason. One of the main methods, so like one of the main methods that the self-proclaimed white man uses, meaning his policies, man, to what? To his advantages, man. To get what he want. So he used his policies to get what he want, man. And it says what? Through violence, land tax, and it's some act called the Torrance Act. These policies, these laws, to get what he want. The same thing that he's using today. He's using his laws, policies, and regulations to disenfranchise and pretty much to get what he want, man. You know, look, the Heirs Property Act is still enforced today. The same act that they used back then to steal, rob the so-called blacks or Negroes, and they did that to all Israel. The Native Americans, the Mexicans, and etc. Man, they did these same acts to all of Israel, man. Salakia, but I gotta pause to get key messages. He said they use these land acts to what? Manipulate the system, man. So that's what they're the biggest manipulators on the planet Earth, man. Connivers, you know. So they use their policies, to their advantages, man. And that same act, um, I got to go back and see what he said. What was the name of that act? Yeah, the Harris Property Act. I got to go into that. I'm gonna look into that. The Harris Property Act. It's still being used today, man. Look, how they was robbed of their lands then, and how these Salakia robberies still occur today, man. So the same practices they were using back then, the 20th century up until the 21st century, you know, they're still in place and still being used as of this day. But these so-called Negroes, especially them, man, they're naive to this devil system, man. You know, they're smiling their face, you know, but yet when they look at other so-called Negroes, they look at you as a competitor, you know, they look at you as, an enemy, but yet the real enemy is right there in your face, and these jokers will smile, you know, do go above and beyond to appease these devils, man. Now I'm gonna skip a lot of this and go to the key point. when I'm trying to, I'm not going to play the entire video. It's short. It's about 20 minutes. If you got time, you can look at it in its entirety. But I'm going to just, for time's sake, I'm going to just get to the key points, the beginning and somewhere towards the end. You see that? So the Torrance Act allow the sale of one's property without prior notification of the owner's, acknowledgement, man. So if I was a landowner, I would think, look, this is my property, my home, my acres or what may have you. Today, I may leave and come back. Next thing I know, somebody else owns my property, man, without even me knowing. You know what I'm saying? See, this how this devil's work, man. I mean, what sense is that, man? He used his acts and his policies to his benefit, man. You know what I'm saying? Robbing somebody of their land, their property, without giving them even notice that they're what their intentions are. It's that, hey, this is my home. Next thing I know, I come back, it's not mine anymore. This is my land. This is how this devil operates, man. Slovakia for the commercial. So, so pretty much they said now, just recently, some states, they ain't said all, but some states went to the length of what? Trying to curb. They didn't say do away. They said curb this type of uh, 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 predatorial act, man. And it says curb, not do away with, curb. So it's still in effect, man. You know what I'm saying? Curb this act. But just like the narrator said, he said the damage is already done, man. You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna, like, you got these Negroes still try to petition, you know, uh, reparations. They're not going to do it, man. It's not in this devil's spirit to act justly, even though he tried to present himself to you, simple people, and to the world like he's some dignified, upstanding, law-abiding citizen. But yet his actions, past, present, you know, and you will absolutely see in the future, pursuant to Revelation 12 is 12 and 12, the devil's gonna come down with great wrath, knowing that he had but a short time, that this devil is contrary, man, to what he's trying to present himself in a public way, man, to the public, man. So take close note of this. This is only in Mississippi from 1950, right? This wasn't 1908. This wasn't 1912 or 1920. This was during the 1950s and 1960s, roughly around, probably the beginning of the Civil Rights Act, man. You know what I'm saying? If not, I think it's possibility this is where, there was getting traction, the Civil Rights era, you know. But this is in the 1950s and 1950 and 1964 in Mississippi. This is just one state, 800 over 800,000 acres. Now look, 3.7 to 6.6 billion dollars, man, of wealth was stolen from you so-called Negroes, man, in Mississippi. This is just one state between 1950 and 1964, man. Roughly 3.7 to 6.6 billion dollars, man. You see how much money that is, man? And you Negroes still think this devil is going to, give you some type of recompense. He can't, man. And that's just one state. That's one state that he owned. That look, $6.6 billion, man, in one state. Now accumulate that to all these states around here, man. That's why this devil know he can't give you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man, reparations, man, because there's no way he can repay all this money back, man. You know how they already trillions of dollars fiat currency in debt already, man. So there's gonna be trillions of dollars more that he need to pay y'all back, man. It's going like the debt clock is going to pale in comparison of how much money he owe y'all so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. He's gonna owe y'all trillions. That's gonna pale in comparison to the debt clock that he in debt now, man. 6.6 billion in one state, man. And that's just between 1950 and 1964. Now, accumulate what he stole prior up until before those years, man. And what he owed to y'all before those years, man. Now that's the key point. He said it ain't the point that so-called Black Americans didn't try to obtain, or do the right thing to attain this so-called American dream, to say the least, right? It's that wealthy white people, or those with so-called power, use their laws, regulations, and policies to what? To disenfranchise you, man. Just like they're doing today, man. You know, they use their policies, man. These laws, regulations, and policies were not set to make sure everything is fair and equal, like they try to preach this word equality. Nah, man, it is used to disenfranchise you, man. It's used to manipulate. They got what they call loopholes, man. That word is predominant amongst this serpent's tongue, man. You know what I'm saying? Loophole. They're finding ways to go around what you perceive to be a just act, man. They have loopholes, man. You know, I'm gonna run that back. The, because laws, rules, and regulations, and those that have the power bend the rules to take, their opportunity of being what? Ownership of land, of etc. away from them, man. That's what they do. That's that term loopholes come from, man. And it's predominantly spoken amongst these so-called white people, man. They find loopholes, man, in their system because they who know their system more well than they do. Nobody knows their system well than they do, man, because they're the ones that construct their system. They're the ones that holds the writings and information, even though it is public, but they can put it piece to piece together. Like this policy goes with this policy, this act. You got to do a real diligent search. To find a lot of these things where these devils already know what goes with what to contradict or um, counteract a certain other policy, man. We just go right to, this uh, Torrance Act that would counteract your so-called, what you call that? Uh, uh, I'm trying to think of a common policy that they have in play now. Fair Housing Act. Yeah, that's what it is. They'll go to this Torrance Act to counteract this Fair Housing Act that they got in place, man. When they look, you said fair housing, like, oh, these people must, rules, regulations, and policies. They talk about equality. They here to help us, man, and do this Fair Housing Act anyway. They put y'all Negroes in the projects, man. You gotta look that up. The Fair Housing Act for y'all Negroes is putting y'all Negroes in the projects, man. That's how they consider fair to y'all Negroes, man. While they are able to obtain homes through the Fair Housing Acts. You know what I'm saying? They put y'all Negroes in projects. Look, when it comes to land theft, man, it wasn't the government alone. It was white people that had the money and what? Let's go. Let's take that back. Just like I mentioned, it said it wasn't when it comes to the land theft of the so-called Negroes, man. It wasn't just the government. It was white people who had money that knew the law that could swindle black people out of their property, man. They had the money and they knew the law, meaning like I said, these loopholes where they can go to take your land away, man, without you having any say so in there, man. So that's what these devils do, man. They use these laws, regulations, and policy, and like it stated, these Torrance acts, um, and what was the other act? I think it was called Terrorist Act. I forgot the other one. I got to go back. Salakia, if I'm mistaken, but there's a couple of acts in there that's what they're still in effect today. And it says some states, not all, some states went to the extent now, just recently, to what curb, man, not do away completely, not do away of this um what's the word? I'm lost of words right now. This act of injustice, man. You know, not to do away with it, but to curb it to an extent. you know, some states, not all. So these acts that they did back then to our people, they still in effect, man. Look, it said new wealth extraction schemes became prominent. So it's like the narrator just said. He said it's not as blatant as they did back then. Said they're being conniving with it. They're being more subtle with it. That's what the serpent is. They're finding more ways to be crafty and continuing to oppress you, man. So back then it was just blatant. Like they had blatant, disregard for you and your so-called prosperity. They was blatant to show this thing from it. But now they're being more subtle with it. So that's what the serpent does. They're finding more ways to be crafty and be, slick with it. You know what I'm saying? They can't be as blatant as they were at one point, man. So they got to find different ways to express how they truly feel, but they're being crafty with it, man. Like under the the guise of freedom, justice, equality for all, man. Like he said, if we're not asking these questions today, we're putting ourselves in position for these devils to continue their schemes in the future, man. So that's what they're doing now, man. They're finding, which they do have policies and rules and regulations set up to continue that gap, man, of them being wealthy, stealing your opportunity, disenfranchising you. You know what I'm saying? Putting you at a disadvantage, but they're finding schemes, other clever schemes and plots to continue that, man. You know what I'm saying? Back during the 20th century and before, it was just blatant. Like there was just like it was blatant. It wasn't no hiding that. It was blatant with it. But now they can't do that, you know, because they want to use this perception of we're some upstanding fair people now, so they got to find different methods to continue their disdain for you, man. It's like I think that's the end of it. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna get some precepts and then I'll probably close it out. But I'm gonna get this main precept, man, right here, Daniel's 8:25, and it says, "And through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand." And that's what this devil did, man, through his policies, man, his laws, his regulations, his acts, you know, Taurus Act and his other land theft acts. He was called what? He would cause craft to prosper. I mean, he would cause craft to prosper, man. So through his blatant, he passed laws that was blatant. You know, he would show blatant disdain for you so-called Negroes, and his hatred towards you. Now, he had to find more crafty ways to prosper. You know, so he's being subtle. That's what the devil is, being slick. That's how he beguiled Eve, man. Being finding ways to manipulate the system like they've been doing to con you out of your opportunity, man. Let me read that again. It's the book of Daniel 8:25, and it reads, "And through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand." And that's what this devil, and that's the main point. That's what this devil have done, man. And let's get another one. I think this is in yeah, the book of John 10:10. It says, "The thief came, Salakia, the thief cometh not but for to steal and to kill and to destroy." And that's what the thief does. That's what this devil is, man. That's what that whole documentary went into. What this devil, which is the thief, he did nothing but how he obtained the property. He stole it. If he didn't steal it, he killed you to take it. And if he saw a community, like they called it, quote unquote, now it's predominantly known now, these wealthy black cities or providences, that was established throughout Babylon the Great, aka America. What he did, he destroyed them, man. And that's what this devil does, and what we're doing, man. We're revealing through the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua who this devil really is, man. Let me read that again. It's the book of John 10:10. It says, "The thief cometh not but for to steal and to kill and to destroy," man. And that's all this devil been doing to obtain his empire, man, to obtain his image of some law-abiding, dignified person here in Babylon the Great and throughout the world, man. He's trying to promote that. That's why he can't be as blatant as he was at one point, because he can't criticize other people in their country if he wasn't so. You know what I mean? Because his idea is world domination, man. That's what this NWO is still being echoed throughout these administrations, man. Regardless if it's a Republican or a Democrat, man. That those echoes of the NWO is being echoed by these administrations, man. Up until this day, man. And let me get another precept, and I'll probably end up closing it out. This is the book of 2 Thessalonians 2:3, and it says, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition." Who is that? No other than Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, man. So we're revealing through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua who this devil is, man. See, we're not deceived, man. Not now. We were once deceived, because that's what the devil does. He came to deceive the nations, man. That's why you walking around calling yourself by these names of Negroes, Latinos, or Native Americans, and etc. And these other nations are being called, identified by these different, proverbs and bywords, man. Because the devil was loosed a little season, pursuant to the book of Revelation, he was loosed a little season to deceive the nations, man. But we know now through the spirit power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua who we are biblically. We all have biblical nationalities, man. Whether those that don't want to receive it or don't believe on it, that's fine. Because it was only meant for Israel to acknowledge and understand anyway, man. We'll read that again. This is the book of 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3. And it said, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first. And that man of sin, they didn't say spirit, they said man. Who is that? No other than Esau Edom. And that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, man. That's who's being revealed, man, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, man. That devil, man. And those acts that he did during the 20th up into the 21st centuries, man, and prior, man, and afterwards, the Jim Crow acts, there's another one that they call, I can't think of it right now. Those acts are still in effect, but he's using craftiness, man, to disguise it, man. He's using craftiness to continue to disenfranchise you, man. So that's what this devil has been doing to Israel, man. But this pretty much segment was pretty much talking about the so-called Negroes, man. How they did what? They stole your land, man. Stole your opportunity in one state in Mississippi. What it says between 3.7 to $6.6 billion, man, of land theft that was stole from the so-called Negroes, man, during that time. And that's just one state. So accumulate all these so-called providences in states, counties, countries that they did that to throughout Babylon the Great, man. This devil could not pay y'all back, man. That's why they're not honoring anything in reference to reparations, man. Because there's no way this devil can pay you back. The only person that can pay you back is Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, man. That's why we patiently waiting for recompense by our Lord and Savior, man. Because this devil has no intentions of honoring what he have done to you, man. All these other countries have reparations. The Chinese when, not Chinese, but the Japanese when they put them in these internment camps. They was paid for their distant treatment. They were paid for the treatment that these Edomites done to them during that time. World War II, if I ain't mistaken. They put them in internment camps, but these devils paid money. The so-called Ish people, they paid them when they didn't do it. The so-called Germans did it, as they call it. Even though I know the bigger picture in it, they did have a hand in it, but they paid them and continue to pay them to this day, man. They have an annual agreement where they pay these Ish people over there X amounts of billions of dollars annually, man, to this day. But yet so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are not receiving, I'm talking about as a whole, are not receiving any type of reparations, man. Any type of, recompense for the adjustment that we have experienced here in Babylon the Great, aka America, man. That continue to disenfranchised by laws and regulations that they had back then that are still in effect today, man. But I'm ending off there. Hopefully the body was edified. Before I do, I want to give all praises. So like, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Kakadash. Again, this is your Acumen Driller Zeal. Lord willing, I'll be back with another lesson. Also, want to give double honors and a salute to the men I learned this truth from. Till next time, Shalom, Barakathum, and a ball. Shalom.